Recently, you visited a defense college of Indian forces.
Yeah.
So, are we going to see any increased cooperation regarding security and defense between Brazil and India?
Well, we cannot talk so openly about what's going on in our defense relations. But what I can tell you is that we have Brazilian officers here studying in your defense college, which is a very well known one, and we have Brazil and India have defense industries that are much technologically advanced. And you have been having a number of missions from Brazil to India and from India to Brazil in the last 3 years, and in order to find synergies between our industrial defense sector industries. Last month, we organized here in Delhi a defense week, where we had in 5 days we had a dialogue between our defense sectors, industrial defense sectors. We had discussions in two think tanks, and then we had the first edition of our so-called 2+2 defense dialogue. On each side, a representative from Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Defense. So it was a first. So, as you say, wherever you see, relations are really booming.
So, is Brazil interested in any of the indigenous, weapon or fighter jet developed in India?
Well, I will refrain from entering into details because these are
Not into the details, but is Brazil looking towards Indian products, Indian defense products?
Yes. We have been really. We are interested in a number of defense products.
If you can name, I just don't want to get into the details. I just want to know in which sector. Is it a fighter jet or weapon system or what kind of it? If you can.
I think what I can say that it's a very diversified interest.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, but
Yeah.
I think I should be prudent.
Okay.
In BRICS, Brazil and India, they are there to act as a bridge to a large extent. I don't want to speak for India, but speaking for Brazil, Brazil sees BRICS as a very important group where a diversified number of countries come together to share their ideas, to talk to each other, not necessarily agree on everything, but I think that Brazil, and I think India, but I want to speak for Brazil. Brazil wants to be a bridge between BRICS countries and Western countries, because we don't see BRICS as something confronting the Western countries. We see BRICS as a group that which has common interests and one wants to connect with other group of countries.
So we have news regarding like many countries are actually they want to join BRICS, like Turkey proposed, Bangladesh proposed, and more than 90 countries are actually participating in BRICS, and we have worked in BRICS for Brazil especially. So how do you see that if this year Russia is hosting BRICS?
Yeah.
What kind of impact it would create?
I think the very fact that a large number of countries want to become member of BRICS speaks for itself, meaning that these countries see BRICS as a platform where they can make their voices heard, they can engage in meaningful discussions in a world context where the multilateral fora are blocked. So countries want to engage in diplomacy, in dialogue, and so they see in BRICS a platform of dialogue. Not meaning that we are going to agree on everything, but it's a consensus-based group also. We respect the positions of each member. This was one of the main challenges when I was working for BRICS, because we had to hammer out these agreements in order to issue those statements. And this was quite challenging sometimes. But you see, the prevailing spirit of consensus, of respecting each other's positions, always prevailed. And I trust that this will prevail within an enlarged BRICS.
And We actually am looking forward towards BRICS because this year it is going to be more important
Yeah.
when we see a number of countries are actually interested in joining BRICS. So coming back to India and Brazil relation, so how do you remember COVID-19 cooperation between Brazil and India? It is regarding healthcare and vaccines.
Well, I think that first, India was one of the very few countries that, in a very early stage, managed to develop and produce vaccines. This is, and India showed really solidarity to Brazil. We received a large amount of vaccines at the peak of the pandemics. So we are very grateful to India because this is what friends do in hard times. This was really something which you will always remember.
But there is a very contradiction regarding healthcare products and vaccinations in Brazil itself.
Yes, the previous government was not, to put it mildly, very positive at the outset about launching a campaign, vaccination campaign. But you see, Brazil is a federation, a democracy, a federation of states. What happened is that one major federal state of Brazil, São Paulo, in fact the richest state of Brazil, launched its campaign, and then the federal government had no other option but also to launch its campaign. So this is democracy working, you see. Central government was kind of reluctant, and then one federal state after the other launched their state campaigns, and then
It went.
yes.
And when you see the current geopolitical landscape, what kind of role Brazil and India are playing? How do you see that?
Well, I think India has a very special geopolitical role to play because it's now the fifth economy, an important geopolitical actor, and has been showing really very responsibility in playing its role, which is a big role India has now to play. Brazil geographic position is far from those big hotspots place of the world. We have been conducting a diplomacy which is a very traditional diplomacy of sticking to multilateralism and international law as the basis for civilized relations between the countries. Brazil has a history of negotiating peacefully all its borders with all its neighbors. We have lots of neighbors in South America, and all our borders were negotiated peacefully with each one of them. So we have this tradition.
And what kind of challenges Brazil and India are facing in their bilateral relation? Is there any problem or sort of any challenge where both the countries are not agreeing on the same page?
We mostly agree on everything. What we have is in the trade policy area, we have some different views regarding agricultural rules in the WTO, but it has not prevented us from understanding that friends cannot agree. Close friends cannot agree on everything. So we framed the differences that we have in the WTO as within this larger context of a very traditional friendship, you see, with many common interests. This is the way we decided to manage that.